Hello there, my name is Sanket Adhikari and fine, you've started your business, you have already figured out what products you're going to sell or what services you're going to sell. Now what? What you do now is you go into sales. That's absolutely fine. We should go into sales, but before that, we need to figure out one thing. We need to be damn sure about one thing, and that is branding. What will our companies, what will my companies, what will my organization's branding be? So now what is branding? Branding is not logo. Branding is not what colors you use. Branding is absolutely not what typography you use. Branding is not anything that's pinpointable. That you can pinpoint. That's not branding. Branding, in a nutshell, if I try to minimize it down to the simplest level, branding is what your customers think, perceive, look at your company. How do they perceive your company? For example, Apple. We perceive Apple as luxury, as high end. Whatever we think, we perceive that as high end, as luxury. A lot of people. What we think about Microsoft, when we think about Microsoft, we think about stability, we think about Windows, we think about platform. Those all are the things, that words, that feelings, that gut feelings that come into our head when we think about a product. What we think about Nike, Nike, swoosh, what do we think? We think about shoes, running, sports, high end. These all are the words that come into our head when we talk about a specific brand, when we say a brand's name. That is essential. Why? Because in Nepalese industry, Nepalese businesses, there is no branding basically. In a lot of them, it's brandless. There is a name, there is a color, there is a font, there is a consistency, but there is no branding. Why? Because they tend to do a lot of things. A business when it tends to do a lot of things, there is no branding. Because when I think about a company that does a lot of things, what do I think? I think this company does this. This company does a lot of things. So what happens when time comes, if I have to recommend to someone a company, for example, there are two companies. One company, it only does content writing, only content writing, and the next company, it does a lot of it does content writing, it does graphic designing, it does SEO, it does a lot of things. So when a friend of mine comes to me and asks, hey, I want a company to write content for me, what do I say? I will not refer him to that company that does a lot of things. I will refer him to that company that specifically does content writing. Why? Because it only does content writing. There is a implication that will be good at it. It does one thing, it's good at it. It does a lot of things, it might be average on a lot of things. Okay, so back to the point, branding. For branding, first thing we have realized that branding is essential. We need to have a feeling of customers, that unbiased type of feeling. When we think about a particular brand, that feeling must come into his head or her head firsthand. Okay, so branding, the essential thing to do, start branding your company. And branding is a long-term process. You can't make a branding of your company overnight. It takes time. First of all, the starting process of branding is to specify what services you provide and bring it down to a specific two, three, or four specific things. Specialize. I say specializing only one thing, but if that's not your forte, specialize in four things, five things, or let's say three or four things. And what do? You write it down. You make a list of the services you provide, and now pick up the audience, the ideal audience that will select those services, that will buy those services, those products from you. And now think about the message your company should give out to the customers you sell to. For example, do you want your company to be affordable, or do you want your company to be premium, or do you want your company to be trustworthy, or do you want your company to be friendly, or punctual? Those all are the things that you should figure out. What do you want your company to be? After you've done that, now it comes to the point of using tools to create that brand awareness. Creating brand awareness. To create brand awareness, there are tools, and those tools are now logo, that's a tool, colors, that's a tool, typography, that's a tool, videos, posts, infographics. Those all are the tools that you can use to communicate your message to your end audience, to communicate your company's message to your end audience. And that is how branding is done.